that's their focal point, especially in their 20s. I don't think women are going out and trying to establish careers in their 30s.
But, okay, so one, the statistics said 51% of women are childless that are 30 and over. Why is that? Why? I'm going to tell you, for one, in your 20s, you do a lot of fucking up. You do a lot of fucking up. You do a lot of running around. The women who do end up with a children, it is not planned. It is not something they wanted to do. I'm not saying they regret their children now, but it's not something she planned. In your 30s, if you are lucky enough to make it to your 30s without a child, you now have a little money. You should be done fucking up paper. Excuse my French. You've been through the ain't-ish men, so to speak. You kind of know what you want. You kind of know what it takes to raise a child, how much it really costs, what goes into it, and you also understand balance, right? For the level-headed women, I don't really want to get too much into the women that don't got too much going for themselves. I don't want to spend too much time on them. I want to spend time on the women that do got something going for themselves. In your 30s, if you haven't had a child yet, you're more focused on that I can provide. I have something to offer my child now. I have experiences in life. I have stability, hopefully, and I have experience. So now I know I'm gonna have a baby. Even if my baby daddy's here or not, I'm financially capable to care for a child.
And that's the problem. The problem is the mindset and the ideology that's going behind it. I mean, if your baby daddy is here or not is part of the issue and why women are having no children in their 20s, because they're not making any type of realistic decisions that's supposed to be beneficial for their future. They want to wait till they get to their 30s based on the stats. And the stat is a newer stat. The stat is a stat from today's time. The stat is not if we compare it to late 90s, maybe the 80s, et cetera, you're going to see that there's a big difference and fluctuation in that number. So when you have the real thought process is, you said that women want to make sure that they're doing a lot of messing up. They're making a lot of poor decisions in their 20s, so they're not having kids. And they also are probably going to be more suited financially when they're 30. He said, Jordan Peterson stated that one of the biggest lies is that women are told that their career matters the most. So in the process of their 20s, when they're making their mistakes, they're still focusing on acquiring money, right? And the thing is, if you really look at it, now this is something that I took the time to do myself. And I literally added up and looked up every single, out of all, I think it's 175, 150 countries, right? Approximately in this world, 256 countries or something like that in this world.
I could fact check.
Yeah, there's a couple hundred countries in this world, right? And you just look at all the average ages that women are getting married.
Mm-hmm.
America and Europe are amongst the oldest. Europe, I believe, was like 28 or 29.
Mm-hmm.
And America was around 30, 31.
195 countries.
Rico,
195.
You have a daughter now, right?
Mhm.
And
In my 20s.
in your
I had her in my 20s.
you had her in you had her in your 20s,
I had her in my 20s.
Right. So, do you believe?
And I actually planned my daughter.
You're one of not many that plan kids. Okay.
Well, I mean, I honestly, I would say I manifested it because I always said I would have a kid by 28, and it happened. But prior to it happening, I already, like with my girl, we already planned to have a kid. I want to say my daughter, but have a kid literally 6 months before she got pregnant.
And that what that looks like is you guys preparing for certain things that you think you can't really be prepared when it comes to a kid, but you try to be as prepared as possible. So the fact that you planned the kid, you guys made certain decisions, certain moves, certain savings, certain things, whatever you did to say, okay, we're going to have a child now. Do you honestly think, because you said amongst most of us, United States and where else did you say? Europe.
Yeah.
These girls are getting married later on. Do you honestly believe your daughter is mentally mature enough to curate a home
if she's
at 22?
If she's
at 23?
If she's not
at 24?
If she's not following the wrong people.
If she's not in college.
No,
because that's a college age.
Even if she was to graduate college at 22, and let's say she did it in 4 years, she starts off at 18, graduate college at 22, and let's just say 25. She's married. she should be capable of being married. She should be capable. I don't think the women nowadays that are in their 20s were raised by women who were able to teach them, or maybe the influences that are happening now in society have taught them how to be incapable of managing a house, how to be incapable of managing a family. They're incapable of managing themselves.
Managing
But
money.
it's not just women, it's men too. There's a lot of 20-year-old men that if you take 25-year-old in 1980 and a 25-year-old in 2024, the mentality is not the same, and the preparation is not the same. You know what I'm saying? It's not just one sided. It is happening it is happening for both genders.
It is happening for both genders, but I think that when you take maturity out of it and you take how they were raised out of it, society is also not the same. Like it's also not the same for someone back then at 25 years old that had a kid and was married and has a home. It's not the same for a 25-year-old in today's society. It's more difficult, to be honest, because you can be raised right. You can be raised to be a wife from young. We all know Spanish cultures, they do it.
I don't think they do it like she said. I don't think
More of the Indian cultures and the more foreign cultures. Yeah. They get married young, but you got to also remember, like, I've seen a lot of cases where they get married young, and then by the time she does hit 22, 21, she's like, I'm just realizing what type of woman I am.
But I'm
just like, how do you even know? Like, Rico, you don't have a vagina. We know.
Definitely don't.
There's certain things, I'm going to just keep it all the way live with you, that are still happening to your body as a woman in your 20s.
In your 30s too.
In your 30s too, but let's just talk about the 20s. There's things happening in your body where you're still learning, like, oh, this is what this is. Oh, this is how I take care of this, because this didn't happen to me when I was a teenager. There's just you have to grow up a lot faster when you have a child.
Yeah, but
there's certain things that are going to happen to your body that make it inevitable for you not to.
Yeah, but a woman's body is already being sped up. The process of it is being sped up. Society and the different types of things that we are consuming is actually affecting our bodies and speeding it up. And so with that being said, is like, we technically are speeding up the process of being ready, right? But we're not speeding up the process of being mentally ready.
Right.
But that's a choice, I believe. And again, it could be a choice from either what you decide to consume. You know, again, I was listening to the radio. Shout out to Ebro, and Hot 97. But they were talking about basically being parents. And, you know, Ebro's argument was that things have always been the same back then versus now. And one of the biggest things that somebody came and called in and put into perspective, which I thought was amazing, was like, yeah, you might have had bad influences in music in 1990s, but you didn't have a addictive, specially curated algorithm that was able to feed you the nonsense on a day-to-day basis on your phone.
Right.
You had to go and select the channel. Nowadays, the channel selects you. And I think that influence is so detrimental to us depending on what we decide to latch on to. Now, you could latch on to things because of your friend groups. You could latch on to things because of what your parents are teaching you. But society is actually putting you in a position to not be prepared to be a real capable adult in your 20s.
Is she ready to have a child? Is she ready to be a mother because she can have a child? Because I can have a child physically. Does that mean I'm supposed to be ready to take care of one? I'm supposed to snap into a role of saying, I know what to do, to how to take care of a household. I'm going to tell you, at the big age I am, right? I'm just learning how to be an adult. And it doesn't come from bad upbringing. I had a 2-parent home. My parents owned their home. I was showed home ownership. I was showed have good credit. I was showed go to school. I was showed all these things, right? And this is how you take care of a man. This is how you take care of a household, because someday you will be married, right? This is what's instilled in my household. But it's a lot different when you are the person that you got to physically do it now. Everybody can tell you how to be a great dad. Until you physically do it, nobody can tell you about your trials and tribulations of being a daddy and figuring this thing out. Or I don't care about all the books that you read. I don't care about all of that. And then when you have your second one, you still won't be ready for what's to come from that, because it's a different type of child.
I think that we have to stop conflating the word ready with able. you're never going to be ready for what life is going to be handing you, especially when it comes to having a child, especially when it comes to getting married. But are you able to adapt? The ability to be able to say, okay, listen, like people think that life is concrete and these new experiences have a book and a blueprint, and they do have some guidance, but there is nothing that's going to be curated for your specific experience. But I'm talking about a woman who had a decent life. A decent life. She didn't even have to go to college. She could have just went into a trade school. She could have just went straight into work after high school, right? But when we take that same person and say, well, what were you being prepared for? Were you being prepared for life, or were you being prepared to have fun, to enjoy your life? And the thing is that we try to start life as an adult too late, and then try to live forward rather than living backwards because we watch all of our other, older grandparents, etc., work their life, work till they're 60, 65, and then try to live life then. And we're like, that's too late to live life. And now we're out of balance because we're trying to live life so much right now in your 20s that you're going to be not prepared to be an adult, let alone a parent in your 30s. Now you're trying to catch up in your 40s. And now next thing you know, I have a daughter, right? I would never want to be a new parent at 40, 45, 48, 50,
Why?
38.
Yeah.
Why?
What's the reason?
What?
Why?
You know how much energy they take? Do you know how? Well, I mean, no, you don't. But you get. They take so much energy.
No, I
They
do.
take there's no sleep. Like, yo, I
So
can.
the younger, the better.
The younger, the better. Younger, the perfect.
It's case by case. I feel
No,
like
it
that's
is
case
not.
by case.
Your
No.
child is not. Yo, listen. My daughter is 3 years old right now.
Why are you tired at 40?
Took off his
Why are you tired at 40?
Why are you tired at 40?
Unless you're
Rico, think about it. I know we not young. You know you're not gonna be old and tired at 40. So why you even promoting
I am
that?
tired at 31.
No, you're
What are we
not
talking
tired.
about? Yo, listen. When we're talking, and honestly, I have a more fortunate life than I would say 85% of men in this country, where I don't have to go to work 9 to 5. I literally can do what I want to do at the comfort of my home and chill way more than most people can. So, and I'm tired. I couldn't.
But you're tired of what? Because you have a certain luxury of life.
No, I'm tired with the luxury of life. So if I had to wake up and go do,
You're not old at 40 though.
if I had to do construction from 9 o'clock or 6 o'clock
Yes.
to 2 o'clock, and then
Okay.
come home and get my daughter at 2:30, and then deal with my
Yes,
daughter at 2:30,
yes.
you know how what?
Yes.
Yo.
But
Yeah.
to play on what you're saying, being able and ready, right? You're tired, right? So now think about a woman in her 30s saying, okay, I'm now ready to have a baby. I don't got to run around and get up at work that 9 to 5 no more. I don't got to be here at a certain time. I don't have to do nothing. But I don't know about for anybody else out there that's approaching their 30s, but if you don't have children and you are successful financially in your space of whatever you're thriving in, you now have the luxury to say, I'm ready, not able, I'm ready to have a baby, right? Because I could be able to buy Lamborghinis and everything because I have good credit and I got a little cash. Doesn't mean I'm ready to take on the maintenance that comes with a Lamborghini. So now you have the luxury to say, I can have help. I got a village. I got people around me put in place to help me raise this baby because it does take help. And usually people who have babies in 20s, it's just them. They don't got a bunch of help.
They have the most help.
You might be lucky. No, you might be lucky. I don't know too many girls in their 20s that's having babies. They can't be outside as much. This is why you hear all these stories happen. Let's not be blind. That's why you hear all these stories of girl on a cruise, took a cruise and left her 2 young kids in the house watching on the camera. It's kids raising kids.
No, that the problem is that's not a proper parent, because outside should not supersede.
How can she be a proper
Outside should
parent?
not.
If she,
The point is that that's not good parenting. That means that even though she might be ready, she's still not able to be a parent because she still wants to be outside and not be the parent that her child actually needs, which is why you're having kids raise kids. So it doesn't matter about how much money you're making. And in all honesty, right, I can tell you I've been making fairly a decent amount of money since I was 25 years
how
old.
much you make, Rico?
I've been making fairly a decent amount of money since I was 25 years old.
I want to know.
Right? If
Tell
I
me
had
in
that,
my ear. Tell me in my
if I
ear.
had that,
Tell me.
if I had
Give me
that,
a number. Give me a number. I'm
Whisper
not letting
it
you
in
go.
the mic.
Just tell me a
Whisper it
number.
in the
Tell me.
mic.
Come on. Just tell me.
It-
Tell me.
it's 6
Just give me
figures.
a number.
It's 6 figures. But like, let's just say,
find out. Don't worry.
let's just say I make that same amount. I make that same amount of money. That money has not deviated. It may have went up a little bit, but it's still close to the same.
Mm-hmm.
But with a kid, that ain't nothing.
No.
Like $100,000. And I don't mean that. Also, I live in New Jersey, so it might be different. If I had that same money in Alabama, I might get a mansion, right? But in New Jersey, having $100,000 career is still not enough to literally say I'm ready for a family. But you might think you're ready for a family because it's easy. It is easy to have a 2-income household and feel like you have a luxury to do a lot of things when it's just you and your spouse. But when that little baby comes, and first of all, somebody's taking off of work, pay is going to take a hit. And I'm not talking about people who are entrepreneurs and have that, that availability to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the average day-to-day worker. Now they have to sit down. Somebody has to call off of work. Somebody has to find a babysitter to go do. Now, just for you to enjoy yourself, it costs 2 times more.
Rico, I don't think you understand. I've been raising a little girl. She's 7 now, going on 8. I've been raising her since she was 1. Okay? So potty trained her, taught her how to talk, taught her how to read, taught her how to do math, taught her everything she knows. I'm here with you, even though I didn't birth out my vagina, right? It's not about the money, because kids are expensive, but it's also about a routine. I find things to be very easy when you get into a routine of things. And it may be easy, even if you have a 9 to 5, when you have that other partner, and this is why the 20s is so important, because most young girls in their 20s, they're getting raised on Sexy Red, City Girls, and I love y'all. I love them. Get them. I love them.
Don't raise my daughter.
But what I'm saying to you is that they're getting raised on this, so they don't think that they need to be in a relationship with their baby daddy. They don't think they got to get the ring before they have the. Where you think the lullaby came from? You understand what I'm saying? These things were instilled for a reason because they set foundation. It's the same thing with buying a house. You could spend all this money on a beautiful house, the interior, the exterior, but if the foundation is not good, you didn't take time making a foundation, and then you spend all this money for nothing. So the kid, I just think in their 20s are not making healthy relationship decisions because of the influence of social media, our music, all of these things. And it doesn't matter how great your parents raised you, these things become Bible in your head.
Well, it depends. Listen, it depends on the numerous factors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, your environment does play a role in your child's life. But as a parent, your environment you're placed in is your parents' duty.
Rico, right? You said environment. Your kid can go to the best school.
I'm not saying
the best environment. What is the best environment? Because these kids are getting fed it literally through Fruit Loops. They're getting fed this stuff through the most gentle stuff that used to be.
Who's buying the Fruit Loops? My thing is
gentle stuff is being tormented. It's being
twisted and turned. But that doesn't mean anything. Holiday, when you're a parent, you take things so, especially now, I feel like if I was a parent back in the day where food wasn't manipulated probably as much, or maybe we didn't have as much awareness of it,
right,
it'd be easier. But now I feel like being a parent in this day and age, you're so paranoid about what you're giving your baby and what you're where you're placing your child. We can't even feel comfortable placing our child in daycares.
Yes.
Right? So like because of
cartoons,
because of all that has happened. So as a parent, you are vetting every single thing.
Yes, but as a parent, I've also seen, I'm just telling you, watch these cartoons. When you can leave out for 1 minute. That 1 minute, the dick is on the screen. By the time you come back, you did not see it. It gets inserted amongst the cartoons. I have a 7-year-old, so she's watching all these shows. I sit and sometimes and just sit there and watch. And then I'd be like, yo, what's that? She didn't even pick it up because she looked down for a second at the Barbie doll.
Okay.
But in a flash of a second, it's a website. It's something that she's not supposed to see. It's even the commentary. It's even the commentary of like almost like girls kissing girls or guys kissing guys. It's integrated where it's not the entire cartoon. But if you look away for a second, you'll miss it.
Well, first of all, what I'm gonna say is I don't believe it. I worked with Apple devices all the time. for years.
So I'm telling you
So,
from experience. I've caught it
okay,
on my own
all
TV
right.
to the point I had to show my man,
Alright,
like,
that's
yo,
cool,
look,
but you
look
did,
at this.
You did not have the proper parental controls
I
set.
got all of that on there,
you
and
did-
I control it on
you
my
didn't
phone.
do it right.
My 7-year-old
Yo.
doesn't even have an iPad. She
Okay.
doesn't have a cell phone.
So,
she doesn't have none of that
listen,
for that reason.
Listen. That's cool. That's cool. You can believe what you like.
I'm not
What
believing. I'm
what
telling you from a fact.
What I'm
the
going-
comments is going to let you know. People who have children, please let this man know to watch the cartoons because it is integrated.
We're not saying that it's not in the
within
cartoons,
seconds.
but I'm telling you right now, if I go and I put parental controls for 3,
It's still
and
coming
It's
up.
not gonna come up. Oh my God, it can't come up.
Rico, it's not going to come. You're saying it's not going to come up because you
my.
put the parental control on it, right?
So there's certain
But
blocks
this-
that you can have, right? And I'm not gonna argue
I
with you
have the
about.
blocks.
You clearly didn't do it right. But the more of the story that I'm
Rico
trying to
low-key
say,
want to hit this. This is not my brother.
Oh God.
well, I would never be no brother or a friend. I don't believe in that. Don't call me your brother. But what I'm saying is, as a parent's job, it's your duty to place your kids in the best possible way to put them in a winning position. And no, it's not about you're going to be able to catch everything. No, it's not about you're going to be able to make sure that you put them in all the proper positions and they're guaranteed to win. There is no guarantees, but it is your duty to put them in a favorable position. It is your duty to make sure, hey, listen, if you have the ability to say, you know what, this school is not a good school for my child because I'm seeing a lot of Sexy Red being played in 4th grade, right? No offense to Sexy Red. I'm going to remove my child to a school that's probably going to have it less, hopefully.
Or they just
Or not
change
at
Sexy
all.
Red's words and they make it a school song.
JoJo Siwa, who now is a whole 13-year-old lesbian.
I don't even know who
pick
that
one.
is.
Exactly. Pick one.
Like,
Pick your poison.
But it's not pick your poison because we're not going to sit here and say that they're poisoning the entire world because
They are.
there are more kids that are winning than there are kids that are losing. And we're not going to sit here and go with the losing kids because at the end of the day,
They're not losing.
in life, there's going to be losers.
I'm not saying the losing aspect. I'm just saying that we and people, when you have children, you can't see everything. And we want to be as prepared as we want to be, right? We can be as ready as we want to be. And all I'm stating is going back to the narrative of just because you are able to have children does not mean that you are ready to take on everything that comes with being a parent.
And vice versa.
That comes with not just being caring for the child, that comes for being able to balance caring for yourself. That comes with being able to be a good person. Having a child changes your patience. It changes your outlook on things. It changes your conversation.
But who's preparing you to be a parent is really the question. Because if you had a terrible parent, you're most likely not going to be prepared.
But life.
That is so
I'm not
wrong.
saying that you're not capable. I'm saying you're not being prepared.
I just watched
We're
the
not gonna say that.
podcast and he was like, I forgot which one it was. He said he's the type of father he is to his son because, and he was sitting across from his father. He said, because you weren't there. You stood me up. And I can never look at my child and do that to him. So I'm the great father that I am because you were the bad one.
And that's
Yeah.
how it be. for a
But
lot
he
of
had
people
probably
that
a
has-
great mother.
Like,
No, but that's how it is a lot of times when you have childhood issues with your parents and them not being there, or you resent them for any reason. You kind of want to be the better parent because you're like, I didn't get this when I was a kid. I didn't like how my parents did this when I was a kid. So you make those changes as a parent yourself when you have kids of your own. So it doesn't always have to be you didn't have good parents, you didn't have the best environment, all of that, because you want better for your kid.
and you ever seen,
Wait,
you ever
time
date,
out.
hold on, you ever dated a guy who he done did something stupid in your relationship and you cool with his mother or his family and you call and he like, now I did not raise Jimmy Lee Bowman like that. He know better. Well, your son slapped me, Miss Betha. Your son slapped me or your son's cheating on me. Well, I didn't raise him that way because me and his father ain't never argued in front of him. And me and his father, we still together 35 years.
Even
Also raise
if
them.
even if a person has had one bad parent, all it takes is one good parent. So that man who didn't have his father probably had a good mother, or he watched his mother try her best and appreciated what she could do, which is why he is able to be a good father. But a person who has no parent, a person who has, well, I don't want to say not no parent, but no good parent, right? Maybe their parents are present and they are the worst of parents. Maybe their parents are absent completely. It is very hard for that person to become a good parent because they have not had any role model. And ideology or idea of how to be a good parent.
But like you said, the younger generation is being raised on social media, right?
I didn't say that.
Well, I did. But I feel like if you didn't grow up with a good parent, if you didn't grow up with a good mom and dad, if you didn't grow up in a good environment, there's a whole freaking book in Barnes and Noble or Parenting for Dummies. Like, like there's so many things out here that are examples. Your favorite, whoever you look up to, whoever you are mentored by. There's so many. I think it's an excuse to not be a good parent because there's a bunch of things around that insinuate and give you leadership in how to do this thing, even if you're not good at it. Because I don't care how good of a parent you are, your kids can still turn up to be whatever and resent you. And you're like, I did the best I could. I gave you everything. I said yes to everything. I was whatever. I protected you. I did what I was supposed to do. I had one of the best fathers in the world. Now that I say rest in peace. And I was just a spoiled brat. And now it's too late. Obviously, I can't turn back times. But in those moments from 16 to 20 something, my dad just wanted to spend time with me. He just wanted to be around me. Any excuse to get me to his house was stupidest reasons. And I was too much involved in my own world to realize it. And to me, if you was to ask somebody, I'm like, my dad's too strict. He's mean. He's this, he's that. When I have my own kids, I'm never going to be like this and that. But now I'm in the dough and I'm like, oh, I get why he was like this. And I get why he was like this. And he only can show me the love that the way he received it. You understand what I'm saying? I just think as people, we need to do it our way. Whatever works for you.
No,
yeah, that just goes.
That's,
Well,
yes,
that goes to
I'm
show.
not doing that because
Why?
So when you do it your way, no offense, you have your outcome, right? That's the problem. We need to have some type of people who are going to be
blueprint?
some type of foundation, right? We can't just you can't just wing it.
No, the village is one thing, but the blueprint is another. This is just like people telling you how you should be married and how you should be in a relationship.
Can't go just one way. Like
It's not going one way. It's saying like I think a blueprint is very vague, but it's specific at the same time. Right? If it's like, okay, how do you get good credit? If you know how to get good credit, I could give you the blueprint. I'm not saying to do the same exact steps, use the same exact resources that I use, but this is the blueprint. And that's the way that it has to be.
We have a new generation when they are addicted to these iPhones and these iPads and these computers and all these things. And at the age of 7 and 8, they know how to work a phone better than a lot of things. They know how to navigate through it. They don't even need to know how to spell. They know how to speak into the mic. And I'm astonished. I have chosen to not implement those things in my household. And when I go to parent-teacher conference, I get a conversation of, your child is different. Why? Because these other kids, they don't know how to occupy their time. Mm-hmm. They are not thriving. They are not creative. They are not inquisitive. Why? Because they have this thing in front of them that occupies and keeps them idle. When children are bored, they thrive. They have to start picking up things, building, using their imagination, being creative. I am a creative being, naturally, right? So I know what happens when I got the phone in front of me and I say, I'm not even going to touch the phone when I first thing and I wake up. It's the same thing for a child. There is no jumping up and turning on the TV immediately. There is no jumping up and going immediately to play with the toys. Like, they have to understand real life. And even at a young age, understanding like, there's other things to do besides this iPad. So my 7-year-old, she doesn't get bored. She doesn't ask for an iPhone. She doesn't ask for an iPad. Even when the TV is right then and there, I got to say, yo, turn on your show. She's so busy creating her own world.
I think that's because some parents are not ready or able. Whether it be you have the finances, you're still not able to deal with the kid. Whether you're able to deal with the kid, but you're not ready financially, and that's affecting what you're doing. Parents give kids things to occupy them so they can have time to themselves. I think that nowadays the art of being a parent is being lost because we're like, I want to occupy my child so I don't have to be there for them all the time. So I can feel like I can have my own life.
No, that's selfish.
My thing is what happens is,
I don't think that's selfish.
But that's the thing. We have not been
taught. There's a balance.
We have not been taught the balance. We have not been taught, hey, listen, you know what? Okay, cool. You know, the kids, when I'm saying kids, like 1 to 5 before
hours.
school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Those kids, they're getting. My daughter has an iPad, right? She got an iPad for her 3rd birthday. Well, she already had one, but she got a new one, right? And
Nice.
and it's like, you know
What
what?
is she doing on the iPad that you can't teach her on paper and flashcards?
But the thing is, see, the difference is with my child, and I don't think every child is like this, because my son that's in the house, he's just glued to his phone. So he had to physically, like, yo, you're playing sports. I don't care if you like it or not, right? And so he's played 3 different sports. But now he loves sports. So now that gives him something else. So now instead of him just playing games, he's looking up different things that are happening with different sports. He's learning different techniques, which is actually helping him learn how to be self-taught in different ways than just, watching anime. Now, my daughter, on the other hand, she is already a creative person. She will watch the iPad at night, but throughout the day, she's not watching the iPad.
Good.
She wants to play. She wants to draw. She wants
Yeah.
to paint.
Yep.
Yesterday, she fought with me to sleep with her backpack so she could hold her stickers.
Yeah.
That's what she wants to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But again, if I've seen many parents who are like, yo, I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, I just give my kid the iPad, I give my kid the
But that
PlayStation,
can't be all the time.
and I just walk off and I let them
That
do their
can't be
thing
all
so
the
I can do
time.
my thing.
It can't be all the time.
But again, I'm saying that because some parents are not actually
But that's
able
what
to
I'm
be a parent,
But
But
I
that's-
also
go
think
ahead.
a
that
full-time parent, I should
Yeah.
say.
I also think that we well, I am younger than you guys. I am
Mhm.
under 30, right?
With no kids. So she's about to be a
No
part of this
kids.
stat.
But I also do think that I used to be in the percentage of people that looked at technology as a way to brainwash kids. This is not how we grew up. We had so much other things to, keep us busy, keep us creative and going, whatever.
We still do. We just have
Right.
let
It can
them fall
still-
to the side.
It can definitely still be implemented, of course. But I also think that we are looking past how popular technology is and how innovative technology is.
And it
So
can be innovative.
It can be.
if it is used properly. There's coding classes. There's things these kids are building whole websites at young ages. No, I'm not against the technology. I'm against that being the only way to solve an issue or solve a problem or be entertained.
Yeah, but it's like it doesn't have to be an issue. Like you said, it doesn't have to be all the time. Like you can't do that all the time.
Right.
But if you have a certain program on that iPad that allows them to study their alphabet because they're struggling, you give that to them. And if that's
Right.
what you're giving them in order for you to go take 10 to 15 minutes to yourself, you do that.
But the same effect that the iPad and the swipe, because it's psychological, the swipe. Something about it, they have proven it to be causing, I'm not saying Down syndrome because I'm not saying don't quote me, but it's caused slowness in children. This swipe effect, something about it.
Like maybe ADHD or attention.
It's proven. So the same way they're learning these alphabets, why not put them on the flashcard and interact with the child? That's the interaction. You understand what I'm saying? Taking them outside so they can interact like on a bike, rollerblades, being active. These things, the same way adults go to the gym. I know why I go to the gym, because they release chemicals that get my brain functioning in the morning. I can't function in the morning if I don't go work out. Why? I can't think. I'm still stuck on yesterday. Something about the gym, me sweating, and the chemicals that get flowing, they get me creative. It's proven if it does it for
I
adults.
used to write music in the gym.
It does it for children. When you get them going, they release certain chemicals, especially early in the morning. So that's why it's like when you see those mommy and me daughters, I admire them when it's like she's working out and doing yoga at 6 a.m, her daughter's right next to her. These are creating healthy habits that when you do become a certain adult, no matter what path you choose to take, you have certain things instilled in you. You know how people say like we've all veered from God, but at some point we come back. It's the same thing. We all veer away from our natural natures of things that we were taught. But eventually when we snap back, we be like, my mama taught me that. Let me get back to that.
I don't disagree with you. Because honestly, I used to be the same way. When I have kids, I'm going to do this. I want them to grow up how I grew up, right? But there's something about me not being that hip to technology today as someone still under 30 that I'm like, kids, they know technology so well. And it makes me a little jealous because I'm like, I don't know how to do I'm not creative in that way. Like graphic designers, I can't do shit by myself. Like I have to hire other people. I have to.
There's nothing, and we've always been saying this before even me, like you guys were saying this too, probably. They're not grooming people to be leaders. They're not, even in sports now, and I was a sport player, and that's where I gained a lot of my, I guess, threshold to, or built the threshold to be able to face adversity. They don't even want the adversity in sports now, where, hey, if you're down by 10, it's okay. You know, it's worse than a participation trophy.
But what I'm saying to you is like, think about this. If all of us here in this room, we each own a football team, right? We each own, somebody owned the Patriots, somebody owned the Giants, the Jets, somebody owned the Cowboys. We own all the teams. How many players do we really need, bro?
55.
All right. How many people are trying for our team? Every year we need 55 people.
Probably like only, how many people even make it to the tryout?
Right?
Actually,
Hundreds of thousands. How many do we need? 55. I'm telling you, it feels like this shit is moving in that way. They're like, yo, we don't need all of y'all to be Rockefeller.
so what are we doing?
They're investing less in education.
No, they're investing more into keeping people there.
Look at this perspective.
We're saying the same thing, just on different spectrum.
Different optics.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're speaking from the top down. I'm speaking from the bottom up.
And they're just like, fuck it, you know, because I'm thinking about it. I'm listening to what you guys are saying. It's like, yeah, the parents got to, and here's the funny thing. See, this is the one thing, this is the trick. Has nothing to do with money.
No.
Because you could be rich as fuck.
Power.
They'll let your kids get on drugs in that town.
Mm-hmm.
That means they're automatically canceled.
Yep.
You can have all the money in the fucking world, but you don't spend no time. You're not around. So let that kid get on drugs. Now you could be in the hood and you like, yo, I gotta work X amount of jobs. Let that. So it's like a process of elimination that's not really. It really has no fucking consequence.
The thing is that I've realized with parents that aren't there for their child is the simple fact that they can't face the fact that they failed. And it has nothing to do about the child. And
You don't fail, really.
no, they
If you
failed
try.
No, they failed. And they failed themselves. And when you fail yourself, a lot of people aren't able to look at people and say, hey, I lost, let alone your own child. And when you're failing yourself, in your mind, when you have a kid, you're automatically failing your child. Especially a man.
Every day.
Especially a man, right?
Every day. You're
If
like,
a
"Yeah, I
man,
fucked up today."
if the world is telling a man he has to be able to provide, and he can't even take care of himself, he can't look at his child in the face as an honest man and accept that loss. And I think that's the part that makes people really become, absent to their child, is that they don't want to face their own failures within their life, within their decisions. Yeah, it's a personal thing.
But what if you're like a high power attorney and you making dumb money and you can't face your child because I work 17 hours a day?
I think that's different. I think I have friends like that, right? Who they own businesses, but they become a slave to their business. So because they're a slave to their business, they're not there often for their child. And you can see it. You can physically see the difference in the relationship with them and their child versus the spouse and their child. I feel like a lot of people don't live their dreams.
Be like, little girl.
What do you mean?
I feel like now, like prior to, I would say the last 15 years, right? Now everybody's a dream chaser, right? But back in the day, you weren't a dream chaser. You were just a person that was working and you did what you had to do. Nowadays, we've put our dreams first, which means we probably had more people failing because them dreams don't happen for most. And now you have to resort to a secondary option of your life. And now you have your child and you bring your child to work, and then
Work day.
your child is asking you, like, what do you do? And you're telling them what you do, but you don't even like what you do. You're not happy. That's not where you saw yourself. And your child is going to ask you, what did you want to be? And I think what parents do now is they'll be like, you know what? Instead of telling my child I wasn't able to accomplish my dream, I'd rather just work without them knowing. You know how many kids that I grew up with that didn't know what their parents did for work?
That's so many shifts and adjustments that's happening at the same time. You're trying to juggle all of this. And you're always like one step and one misstep away from anything. And then now, the whole social media, since it came out and blew up or whatever it is, it doesn't fucking help. Because as life is happening to you, you see a million people you could compare the shit to. You see a whole bunch of stuff happening. And then you actually spend more time looking at what other people's doing.
No, the harsh reality is the parents' outcome. That's the part that people aren't understanding. I think it's okay to be a dreamer. But as a person who's been able to do what I had to do in the last 10 years of my life to live the way that I live now, I don't think 99% of people are capable of it.
What do you mean?
Like, I barely got through it. So for me to tell you it's okay to dream, I'm gonna be like, you sure you really want to dream? Are you willing to have nothing for a long time? And a lot of people aren't, right? So my thing is, when I'm not saying don't dream. What I'm saying is dream with caution, right? Because that's the harsh reality, is that you're not gonna get what you want. And then what happens is you have this child, and your child bring your child to work day. Yeah, it's gonna ask you,
work day.
What did you want to do? And now with social media, it's easy to have a new superhero, right? If I was raising a son in 2000, right, with no social media, I could be my child's superhero even if I was a plumber. As a plumber in 2024, Jake Paul is his superhero. Okay? No,
Well,
we're saying all this ifs and ands.
Company.
Most of them are not.
Like, well, that's the thing that kind of throws me off, because I'll be honest with you. If somebody asks me right now, and I have a tremendous amount of entrepreneur experience, right? If you ask me right now, if they give you a reset at 18, would you be? I'd be a hell fucking no.
See, I would.
wouldn't do it.
I personally, I can't live underneath somebody else. I can't function underneath somebody else's control.
But I wouldn't do it.
That's why I would have to do it. But that's because I can't do the other thing. You know how many times I beg God to be like, please give me the strength to work for somebody else, because this shit ain't cutting it, and I just can't do it.
Thanks for watching this episode. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Instagram. Please join our YouTube membership. You can also follow us on Patreon. Yep, get into it with us, and we'll be back next episode. Bye.